What's up, y'all? I'm Sheila J, and welcome to the Diva Dish. This episode is all about Dexter New Blood, Season 1, Episode 7, Too Many Tuna Sandwiches. Dexter is like, and I mean this loosely, the Forrest Gump of serial killers. I mean, think about it. The universe always takes care of him. The episode starts,
drive directly to the station.
But he ends,
I don't need Jim. I need Dexter Morgan.
So many things happened in between. Harrison, who are you really? Let's get into it. Okay, so this is what we know. Last episode, Harrison almost OD'd on fentanyl. He was claimed the conquering hero after attacking Ethan. Moving on. Then Dexter, being dad, he decides to ground Harrison, saying, you're only going to the therapist, school, and home. That's it. We'll see how that goes. So, of course, Angela is still on the prowl here. You know, she's still canvassing because Kurt is still keeping up this lie. We know it's a lie now because he's crazy, serial killer. We know that his son is dead. Why he's doing this, I don't know yet, but moving on. Then Molly and Angela are doing their Daphne and Thelma. They're at this conference. They see that Matt is not there. It's this other guy checking in as Matt. They're like,
why would Kurt lie?
Because he's crazy and a killer. So then they meet. Oh my God, the blast from the past, or my heart angel, y'all. Okay. And then Harrison also meets with Kurt. Kurt is getting very close with young Harrison. Kurt kills another girl, the green hair girl. Child kills her.
You ruined everything.
So crazy. Harrison gets loose lips and tells that dad is not Jim Lindsay. Angela's daughter brings it up to Angela. Then Angela does what she does. She starts researching and sees the article, the obituary on Dexter Morgan. Let's get into it. Okay, so the episode opens. It's kind of like a carbon copy of the first episode. Harrison is chopping wood. He's feeding the animals. He is putting the tarp down, going into the garden house. Okay, significant. Yeah, made coffee. Dexter comes out. He's like, oh, cool, whatever. So he sees this application sticking up to work at Kurt's truck stop. Of course, Deb pops up and she's like, act like you didn't see it. He's trying to be really nice. You taking him to therapy clearly is kind of a good thing. You're kind of being like Harry, whatever. And he's like, I don't feel good about it. I don't either. Moving on. Harrison comes in. He's like, I appreciate you doing everything. I know I've been a jerk since I've been here. You have. And I really appreciate everything. And, Dexter shows him the application. He's like, yeah, I want to work there. You just need to sign off on it. He's like, I really don't feel good about it. He was like, why don't you like him? He's like, I just don't get a good feeling off of him. Harrison turns on the asshole real quick. He's like, well, I really don't care what you tell me to do it anyway. And of course he goes to the guilt trip. You weren't there. I stayed in a lot of truck stops to get here, blah, 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 just to get what he wants, essentially. Yeah, moving on. Then it goes to King Crazy Kurt, making some type of replacement for the hole he shot in that girl's face. Sir, what is your deal? So Dexter's driving, and just like so many of these scenes in this episode have been nods to episode 1. He's driving, Angela's coming the opposite way, cops him. He's thinking it's about to be a wham bam thank you ma'am again, like it was in the first episode. But she was like, ID and registration. He's like, okay. She said, not that one, this one, Dexter Morgan. Follow me to station. Here we go. Dexter has minutes to decide what to say so that his life basically doesn't blow up. Moving on. So he gets to the station and Angela had come in. She's pissed. Everybody there. Logan's there. The secretary lady's there. And he's like, she shuts the blinds, letting everybody know it's about to go down. So Dexter gets there and he basically says, I did it to get away from so much death. Harrison's mom died. Debra died. I was working in homicide. Couldn't handle it anymore. Drove my boat into the hurricane. You know the story. And she was just like, the redundant shit. You lied. We know. And she just didn't really want to hear it right then. So he was like, you gonna tell somebody? And she was like, just leave. Moving on. So Molly gets there, and Molly's like, we need to look more into this and find out why Kurt was telling us that Matt was there when he was not. And Angela was like, look, I got too much on my plate right now. We're going to have to let this go for just a hot second so I can get my life together. And, she hid Dexter's little business, so I feel like she's going to keep it under her hat. Yeah, moving on. So then, Kurt's crazy ass gets to the truck stop. And he ain't right. He ain't been right since that girl made him shoot her. Because he was like, you messed everything up. And he ain't been right since then. Tight, hinged. So he gets to the truck stop, he canvassing, looking for a new girl to get his rocks off. So he sees this girl, he gives her, looks like $400. He's like, if you need anything, just setting it up, right? Then her boyfriend came up, he was pressed. Moving on. So then Harrison walks up and he is tight. Kurt is tight. He's not all, Mr. Fraternal, I'm sorry. So he was like, why don't you start today? Forget it, your dad didn't want you to do it, whatever. He's tight about the girl. He ain't really thinking about it. He was like, I can't start today because I got my first wrestling match. He's like, oh, I didn't know you were doing that. My son was the captain. Another connection there. I don't like it. Moving on. So at this point, Dexter has processed that his cover has been blown by Angela, and he's like, what the fuck? So he could tell Mary fuck kill. And, listening to the Bay Harbor Butcher podcast. And she's like, basically, she thinks that the killer could still be out there based on these conspiracy theories that, that Dokes wasn't really, and we all know that he was not the real Bay Harbor Butcher. So, Harrison, same difference. Dexter was like, she might be the mole, the one that told Angela that was really Dexter. Moving on. So it was a scene where Audrey and Harrison are at school, and Audrey's getting very fresh. She's like, why don't you come over to study sometime? She brought up chemistry. So he was like, I can't tonight. I got to wrestle. She was like, cool, maybe I'll come. But she's definitely like letting him know, like, wink, wink. Moving on. So then we get to a very, it was a really developmental scene, I think, because Harrison looks like a bit more about his father and his life when he was smaller. Because, of course, it's poetic irony that his mother died and he was sitting in her blood. Awful. And Dexter kind of glazed over it, and the therapist was very subjective. And, he was like, Harrison, I understand why you would feel this way. Dexter, you kind of need to dig a little deeper. But you could kind of see, how Dexter gets really close to crying, but doesn't ever really do it. And I thought when he did this gesture, it really signified the fact that there's a hole here. Kind of like he wants to love and he cares a lot, I feel like. Yeah. And I feel like Harrison is just looking for answers. I feel like maybe he's a bit more feeling than Dexter, but I sense a darkness that's very raw and wild. So then, after the very tense the therapy scene, because, the long and short of it is Dexter doesn't really want to bring certain things up, and I don't know that it would help Harrison, because I kind of feel like Harrison is more on a fact-finding mission versus a wanting to forge a connection mission. Or if he is wanting to forge a connection, I feel like it's on we both got the dark passenger. I feel like Harrison knows more than he says. I feel like he already knows. I feel like he may have tortured Hannah, maybe, and made her tell him everything. Moving on. So we get to Dexter meets with Logan because he's trying to get this tea about Molly, child. So, he knows that Logan, slept with him, and if he finesses him enough, child, he'll tell him what he wants to hear. So, he kind of brings up Molly, and he's like, she's been working with Angela. They traveled, and Dexter's, ears perked up. So he's like, shit, I gotta get, some intel. Moving on. So then Harrison climbs into Audrey's window. Basically, they talk about how they're outsiders, and he's like, I really want to hurt people a lot. And she's like, really? And he's talking about how he feels that way all the time. Really? And then they sleep together. Moving on. This morning, Harrison is still there. Really? Angela flips out, takes him to his daddy's house. They said handle it. Moving on. So Dexter is like, what the fuck? And I'm wondering when Dexter's gonna be like, look here, you got all that mouth? Okay. So Angela leaves after telling them to, right. He slams the door, baby. Dexter. Harrison was already ready with the comeback. Dexter was like, Harrison, you can't just leave here in the middle of the night and go where you want to go. And he said, did you know I was gone? That's not what I asked you. So, oh my God. Okay. So Dexter goes to the bar. Because Molly was there, right? So she's there with Kurt, like Angela told her not to do. He's crazy. So Dexter sits down. He's real slick, does his Dexter thing, plugs up his phone. He's like, tuna sandwich. He was like, no, I'm gonna have something else. Like pastrami, I think he said. And this alludes to too many tuna sandwiches. He's been coming there a long time. He knew what he wanted to eat. Okay. Not. So he plugs up his phone, and what it looks like he's just charging it. Thank God he's recording the conversation. Kurt's ass did not care who it was. He just needed a female. Takes her to that house. He follows her there. Pops up on Kirk's ass. Kurt was pressed. Okay? Dexter was like, This is
serial killer 101.
Right? Molly was like, dude, thank you. Okay? Crazy. Moving on. So they're looking, Dexter's, he was like, let me go in the bedroom. Let me go in this room. Oh, he sized it up. He was like, this nigga is a straight up serial killer. No doubt about it, okay? And you can tell Molly, she got a mace out child like, this could have been the end of Molly. True. It would have been. Dexter, once again, the dark hero. He's like Batman, kind of. Moving on. So, then we cut to Angela and her deputy are at the caves. They're looking for, of course, Matt. So they're going through, they're finding all of these things, and they find this man-made grave. Well, you like the rocks because they're in the caves. So two things I'm terrified about. Remember that bear that chased Dexter's ass up out of there? Please don't come up. And we hope, of course, we don't find Matt. Moving on. So we cut to Dexter dropping off Molly, and she was like, I was almost, yep. Mm-hmm. And she was like, let's keep it our little secret. He was like, cool, no problem. Yeah. So then he gets a text or a reminder about Harrison's wrestling match. So he gets to the gym. Harrison, disrespectful still. Dexter goes and sits down up at the top with the teacher, the Spanish teacher, bartender chick. And Kurt comes in, he's on one, he on hard for another girl, and he's just pure testosterone crazy, right? So he gets there, he's kind of like honorary coach, and he's all up in Harrison's grill, telling Harrison to take out all his anger on this boy. So Harrison does the boy dirty. Oh my God, he breaks his arm. Savage. Only for Kurt to congratulate him. Dexter comes down. He's like, stay the F away from my son. And Kurt gave him the, oh, I see you. Kurt, that ain't what you want. Moving on. Yeah, Kurt, I know you passionate, but Dexter, even on a little taste slow, is not what you want. Yeah, so then it cuts to Jen digging through this grave. She finds a bigger cave, finds Iris. And then she calls Dexter. Well, she calls Jim and asks for, I need you. Forrest Gump. Dexter Morgan ushered back in with flowers. Okay. Episode was everything. No, I'm jumping in the middle, but so good. So good. Thank you for coming. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. If you're new, thank you so much for coming. Give me a like or not. Either way, I appreciate your time. And yeah, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.